For our first speaker today at this rally, we've got Dr. Scott Jensen, who is running for governor. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And you know why you're here. You know why you're here. Because we have to unite. And the reason we have to unite is there's something very dangerous going on. There is a new normal that's being established. And the new normal, you know as well as I do, is not acceptable to America. We will not allow it. We know what the big issues are, to be sure. I mean, for certain, when you look at the economy, you have to ask yourself one question. Am I better off today than I was 3 years ago? Is it, when families are having to make a decision, do I go to the grocery store today or do I fill my tank with gas? We've got problems. When fuel oil has doubled, gasoline's gone up 50%, the supply chains have been fractured, and Governor Walz says, listen, you folks need to be buying electric cars. They're more expensive. There'll be less dollars available for roads and bridges. I'm not going to drive one. I don't even have to pay for my gas because Minnesota does. Something's wrong. When Governor Walz comes out and says that $2,000 will pay for a couple months' rent, it tells you how out of touch he is. He's out of touch. But let's be a little sympathetic to Governor Walz. Seriously, if you had your rent paid free, you had a chef, you didn't have to pay. You didn't have to pay for the groceries. You don't have to pay for the utilities at the end of the month. You've got cars that are paid for. You don't have to pay for the auto tabs. You don't have any property taxes because you don't own any properties. You can see how easy it would be to get out of touch, and that's what's happened. The economy is problematic. Governor Walz thinks that it's more important for him to play Santa Claus. I say this is the time where we say, what would it take for Minnesota to be a state that gets rid of its personal income tax? That's the question we should be asking. Just imagine, reimagine Minnesota. If instead of companies looking at leaving us, they were thinking of coming to the economic hub of the Midwest. Instead of worrying about 3M and Best Buy and Arctic Cat and Polaris and JBS leaving, what if we could go to Smithfield when they left California and say, you should come look at us? Instead of Kristi Noem from South Dakota and the Montana folks saying, come here, leave Minnesota, we'll take care of you. What if we pushed back and said, there's no place better to do business than Minnesota? That's going to be the thing that sustains an economy without a personal income tax. That's what we're going to do. Next question. The ABCs of education. Folks, this is a big deal. Critical race theory, it's an abomination. But it's not the last time we're going to have to deal with this. We know fully that there will be another one. We knew that there was Common Core, No Child Left Behind, Profiles of Learning, and now we're hearing that you can't get licensed potentially unless you can show a certain facility with Marxist thinking or critical race theory. We have got to get back to basics, and the best way to do that is to blow it open and have more options for our parents to make decisions about the kids. The other day, did you see Scott Burns' tweet? So Scott Burns comes out and says, it's a fact that parents do not know or do a good job of managing how to have their kids do, eat, or learn appropriately. Star Tribune, board of directors, he maxes out to Tim Walz every time, and he comes out and basically says, parents aren't up to the task. They need the government to co-opt parenting rights. What should have happened? What should have happened? Tim Walz should have come out and rebuked him and said, you didn't say that right, pull the tweet off, apologize, and try to be more careful in the future. Tim Walz didn't say a word. That guy now has taken his tweeting private because he doesn't want to be embarrassed again. But the message is there. Tim Walz is absolutely willing to let the government encroach on your parental rights. And he's absolutely willing to encroach on your health freedom. This is a huge issue. And then we've got to turn our attention to public safety. Honestly, folks, having more cops on the street corners isn't going to do the job. What we need to do is respect the work they do. We need to see a cop and say thank you. Carjacking, it's a crime of its own. There should be a minimum mandated sentence for it. Catch and release, that's for walleyes. It's not for hardened felons. We know that. If someone wants to deface a public edifice, yes, they're going to be prosecuted, They're going to spend their time, they're going to pay their fine, but they're also going to make restitution. We have got to have restorative justice. We cannot allow people under the age of 18 to think that they get a free out of jail card because they're not yet 18. A lot of the carjacking is being done by 15, 16, and 17-year-olds hired by people over 18, and they know exactly what they're doing. And as long as we're talking about this, could we finally, once and for all, put the hammer down in this state on child pornography and human sex trafficking? This has got to stop. So here we are. We know what the issues are. We know that Minnesota's on a path that's not sustainable. So we're asking, what do we do from here? We acknowledge the fact that virtually everyone here has had some pretty hard times to weather the last couple of years. Every one of us has seen someone whose lives have been turned upside down, whether it was a death from COVID, whether it was a loved one having to die alone in a nursing home, whether it was a grandchild that was locked out of school, whether it was your business locked down, you couldn't go to church, but you could go to the largest candy store in Minnesota. These things hurt. They hurt all of us. But the big question is, okay, who's going to step up? Who's going to step forward? And it has to be us, all of us. And I'm not just talking about Scott Simpson or Karen Attia or Danny Nadeau. I'm talking about every one of us. We've got to get out of the spectator seats into the arena, take the slings and arrows and say, we are going to stand strong. We will not flinch. That's what you need to do every day for the next 142 days. We've got good candidates. I was just looking at a piece of literature from Karen. It's Karen Attia. She's running for the Senate. Is it? And then Mr. Simpson. Scott Simmons. I said Simpson. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the Simpsons. So sorry, Scott. I owe you a check. I'll write one for you. Promise. Promise. But Scott Simmons and Danny Nadeau, these folks are going to need some financial support. They really do. So if there's a way that you could write a check before you leave today, because their Democratic opponents will have far more money. But I know that the Republicans know how to get more from a dollar than a Democrat knows how to get from a 10 spot. So we're okay. Danny Nadeau has been a dear friend of mine, and he helped get me in front of you today. So a debt of gratitude to Danny Nadeau. Could we have a round of applause for him? Folks, here we are. We are going to stand together side by side. We are going to stand together in the arena. You are the everyday heroes that are going to make a difference. We are going to take the fight to Tim Walz. There will be no quit in us. We will go day after day after day. I have 5 events today, and I feel a little lazy because at 8 o'clock tonight, I get to read my grandchildren a book before they go to bed. So I'm taking it a little easy today. But we have got to take the fight to Tim Walz. We have got to win. And when we win, we really do heal Minnesota. And when we heal Minnesota, you know what happens? We never look back. Thank you so much, folks. Here we are.